अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. सर्वेभ्यो नमः. Thank you for joining this session. So we are in the 16th chapter. We have completed 12 shlokas in the 16th chapter. Today we will do the next 8 shlokas, shloka number 13 to shloka number 20. The 16th chapter has 24 shlokas in all. In the first 3 shlokas, we learnt about the daivi guna, the daivi qualities, and we learnt 26 daivi qualities in 3 shlokas. Subsequently, from the 4th shloka onwards till the 20th shloka, Sri Bhagavan lists something like 30 asuri qualities, the demoniac qualities. And in the first 9 of them, which we studied in the last 2 sessions, that is shlokas number 4 to shloka number 12, we covered something like 21 of those asuri qualities. So now we have 8 more shlokas remaining. So in those 8 shlokas, 9 asuri qualities are covered. So totally we will get 30 qualities. So we will first look at what those asuri qualities were, which we have already heard about. We will quickly enumerate them, and then we will go on to learn the remaining 9 asuri qualities. The purpose of hearing about them, obviously, is to understand what we might be doing wrong and how to see wrong in this world and discriminate between it and the right thing, so that we can try to ensure that we do the right things in our life and to also be able to associate with people who do the right thing. So, this is the purpose of learning these asuri qualities and their contrast with the daivi qualities. So, we now look at what we have already learned. The first one is dambha. Dambha means hypocrisy, external duplicity, display of dharma, etc. Second, darpa. Darpa refers to arrogance, pride, etc. The third is abhimana. Abhimana means having a feeling that I deserve more respect, expectation of more respect, excessive respect, honor, etc. from others beyond what is normally considered as socially appropriate. Then krodha or anger. Fifth is parushya. Parushya refers to the speech that is harsh, crude, rude, hurting others, etc. Fifth, ajnana. Ajnana in general refers to ignorance, but here it refers to absence of that discriminating facility, absence of wisdom, discrimination between right and wrong, dharma, adharma, etc. Then pravritti nivritti avivekaha. This refers to the lack of engagement in dharma, that is the ability to say that this is the correct thing I should do and this is not what I should do. So, not being able to engage in the correct activities and stay away from the wrong activities. This is pravritti nivritti avivekaha. Shaucham na vidyate, that's the eighth asuri quality, lacking external cleanliness or internal purity. Ninth is acharaha na vidyate, lacking proper conduct. Satyam na vidyate, lacking truthfulness. 10 qualities over. Then the 11th quality we learnt was described in a particular shloka. Asatyam apratishtham te jagarahuranishwaram aparaspara sambhutam kimanyat kamahaitukam. So this has got alternate philosophical interpretations. It refers to the understanding based on the premise that there is no one called Ishvara. There is no higher entity called Ishvara which is responsible for the creation of this existence, which is responsible for all the energies which are here and through which all our consciousness also comes. So, the understanding of the lack of Ishvara leads to conclusions such as this world is false, it's mithya, the understanding of aparaspara sambhuta. Whatever has come has either come only by chance or only by the action of lust. There is no other factor. So, this kind of thinking is based on the understanding of the lack of Ishvara, Anishvara Drishti. Kamahaitukam, interpretation that one can describe the world in whatever way one perceives it to be, and that is then the cause. There is no separate cause as such. So all these kind of alternate interpretations which come on the premise that there is no Ishvara is Anishvara Drishti, and Sri Bhagavan lists that as one of the asuri gunas. Then number 12 is nashtatma, one who's ignorant of the self as the pure jivatma separate from the material body, and this happens under the high influence of rajas or tamas. Then alpa buddhihi, one with a meager intelligence, again unable to distinguish between dharma and adharma. Ugra karma is a person who performs actions that destroy this world. So we do see this often, many rash actions that people take, destroy themselves and destroy the world as well. Then dushpura kama ashrita is a person who pursues desires which are sometimes very difficult to fulfill or practically impossible to fulfill. And this is to uh, enhance their own recognition in society, their power, enjoyment, etc. Dambha mana madanvita, 16th quality. This is the intoxication which comes from being duplicitous and gaining respect and prominence in society by being duplicitous. The kind of intoxication or arrogance which comes because of that. Dambha mana madanvita. Asad graha grahi refers to a person who has very harmful or destructive obsessions, such as habits or friends or things, owing to which they are in complete delusion all the time. Asad graha grihi. Then Ashuchi Vrata. Ashuchi Vrata is one who takes impure vows, literally speaking. And this kind of vows involve, they believe that these are religious and will give them the benefit that religious people look for. But it involves very unclean and impure things which the Shastra does not recommend or rejects, the Shastra prohibits, like killing animals, drinking alcohol, eating meat or offering meat to the deity, taking drugs. So all these kind of things are called Ashuchi Vrata, or the people who do them are called Ashuchi Vrataha. Then 19th shloka is Pralayanta Aparimeya Chintopashritaha. So one who has immeasurable anxiety throughout their life because of their material desires. Then Kamopabhoga Paramaha, those who consider that the pursuit of material enjoyment is the only goal in life and the highest goal in life. One who can maximize their enjoyment is the greatest achiever. That's the greatest success, has achieved the greatest success. And people who think that there is nothing beyond that, they are called Kamopabhoga Parama. That is their goal in life. And Anyayartha Sanchayaha, one who accumulates material wealth by unfair means. So up till here, we covered in the last session, we covered 21 Asuri qualities over and above those first 26 daivi qualities. So today we will go forward and we will look at shloka number 13 onwards, 13 of the 16th chapter, and we will then identify quality number 22 and take it forward from there. So this is shloka number 13 of the 16th chapter of Bhagavad-gita. Idamadhyamaya labdham imam prapse manoratham idamasti idamapi me bhavishyati punardhanam. So this describes a particular thinking present in people with the asuri sampat, asuri mentality. It says, idam adya maya labdham. This I have obtained today. Idam means this, adya means today, maya by me, labdham has been obtained. Imam prapsye manoratham. And this, imam means this, prapsye, I will obtain. Manoratham means that which I desire to obtain. So I have obtained this today, and this other thing I will obtain in the future, which I desire to obtain. For example, today I have purchased a house, and tomorrow I will purchase a huge luxury car that will also become mine today. So in the second line, he rephrases what he says in the first line. Idamasti, idamapi me bhavishyati punardhanam. So idamasti means this is now with me. This much I have accumulated and it is now safe with me. Nobody can take it away. And idamapi me bhavishyati punardhanam. And this also, you're looking at something else. He says, this also will become mine tomorrow. Okay, I have this much now, and this much more will also become mine tomorrow. So this is a particular kind of thinking. So I have translated like this. They think, I have obtained this as of today, and in future will attain this desired thing. This wealth is now mine, and this also will be mine in the future. Okay, so this kind of thinking. So shloka number 13 should be read along with shlokas 14 and 15. So shlokas 13, 14 and 15 together, three shlokas describe the thinking of the Asuri person, and they are a continuity. So continuing to shloka 14, asau maya hatashatruhu hanishye chaparanapi ishwaroham aham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi. So he says, asau. Asau means this person. This person, asau maya hataha, has been killed by me. Maya hataha means this person has been killed by me. Shatruhu, enemy. This enemy of mine has been killed by me. Hanishye cha aparanapi. I will kill in future other enemies also. Okay. So this line, asau maya hatashatruhu hanishye cha aparanapi, it actually depicts the thinking of looking at other people as one's enemies. Okay, this describes the view that Duryodhana had, for example. Duryodhana is the most common, or you can say one of the best examples for Asuri Bhav. And all the time, he used to look at everyone as people who are his enemies, whom he could either exploit for his advantage, like people like Shakuni and Karna, he exploited for his advantage. He called them his friends. But people like Yudhishthira or Bhima or Arjuna, he looked at them only as enemies, not thinking how I can exploit them, but how I can get rid of them, how I can kill them. Okay, so all the time thinking that now I have killed this person. Okay, so even if killing does not mean literal killing, okay, this thinking you may think that is present only in people like terrorists and so on. No, this is not referring only to terrorists or people like Duryodhana. It refers to many other people as well, whom we may normally not think of as Asuri people. But this mentality is present in the form of thinking of other people as one's challengers or one's competitors, or people who are the sources of insecurity for oneself. Okay, even when they are not. If they really are insecurity, like terrorists are insecurity to us, then it is fine. But even other people who are not an insecurity at all, looking at them as insecurity because of our own impurity. That is what it refers to. So you want to ensure that they are somehow eliminated from the system. And this is the basis for all politics, whether it's politics in the government or politics in the organization where we work, or politics in our families also. Okay, within the families also, this thinking exists between relatives, between brother and sister, brother and brother, and sometimes even between father and son. That this person is my competitor. He is a threat to my security, this future. My enjoyment will get reduced because of the presence of this fellow in my life. So you'll see even in a family, the same father who has brought up the child when it grows up, because the father, is there in the house, and the father's presence causes some restriction to the son's enjoyment. And the son and his wife and his children cannot have the same freedom that they want to have because the father or the mother are still there. So they are threats. So they want to see them dead as quickly as possible, right? So either they send them off to some other brother's house or sister's house, got rid of them, or put them in some old age home, giving some excuse, and they go abroad and settle down, or somehow eliminate them. So even if they don't kill them, so hataha here does not refer to actual killing in the form of death, causing death. It may mean somehow eliminating them from their life, getting rid of them from that place, right? So looking at them as threats. Shatruhu need not mean enemy in the sense of a different country. People from another country are our enemies. Not like that, but even as a threat to our own enjoyment. So looking at the world like that, not looking at the world in the way Dharma wants us to look at this world. Okay, so how does Dharma, what is the view of the Shastra? How does Shastra teach us to look at this world? It says, Ayam nijaha paroveti ganana laguchetasam udara charitanam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. So udara charitanam, one whose mind is broad, or one whose heart is large, one who is large-hearted. Udara charitanam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. The entire earth is one family. So there is no enemy at all. Everybody on this earth is actually part of our family. Okay, sometimes we have to sacrifice on some enjoyment that we may want to have. But I'm willing to do that because I want to be peaceful, or I want this world to be peaceful. I want everyone to be happy. I want to be happy. I want my parents also to be happy, and I want them to live with me, even if it means reducing some of my own enjoyment. Let me figure out a way to get enjoyment even when they are there, without harming them, without causing any pain to them. Okay, this is the thinking of Dharma. This is the thinking of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So, this is the opposite of what we are reading in the first line here. And that is what Shastra wants us to cultivate. Okay, but here we are reading the Asuri qualities. So, Asau maya hatashatruhu hanishye chaparanapi. I'll keep killing the others also, eliminating them from my life, and only bring other people into my life who will help me to maximize my enjoyment. And the moment I find that they also become threat, I will eliminate them too. Ishwaroham aham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi. So Ishwaroham, I am Ishvara. Okay, so this goes in line with the what we just now read. There is no other Ishwar. There is no Ishwar. I am the Ishwar. Aham bhogi. I am the enjoyer. This world is for my enjoyment. And I am successful if I am able to maximize my personal enjoyment. Okay, aham bhogi. Maximization of enjoyment is the goal of life. Siddhoham, I am successful. That is, once a little bit of success comes, then Siddhoham, I am perfect, I am successful. Balavan Sukhi. Balavan means I am strong. Nobody can uproot me. Okay, so this is the process by which you eliminate other people from your life and become stronger and stronger. Slowly build other friendships. Okay, these are friendships which are temporary, but at that moment they are there because they help you to become stronger and they help you to eliminate people whom you call your enemies. Balavan Sukhi. Ah, this is happiness. This is my happiness. Okay, so this kind of thinking looks at happiness in this manner. Happiness comes by eliminating other people from our life, considering oneself to be Ishwar, considering oneself to be the king, considering oneself to be the worshipable of others, right? Looking for worship, putting up one's own photo and wanting others to like one's photo, things like that. This kind of thinking is what is described in this shloka. This enemy has been killed by me, and I will also kill other enemies in the future. I am Ishvara, I am the enjoyer, I am successful and I am perfect, and I am strong, happy, and contented. The next shloka says, Adhyoham abhijanavanasmi, Adhyoham abhijanavanasmi, Konyosti sadrusho maya, Yakshye dasyami modishye, iti ajnana vimohitaha. So, this is a continuation. Adhyaha. Adhyaha means one who is wealthy, one who is rich, one who has abundant material wealth, material opulence. Adhyaha. Abhijanavan. Abhijanavan is one who is born in a very noble family, one who has noble people surrounding him in his family, one who is in the midst of very dignified, high status people. That's called Abhijanavan. So this person who is thinking like this, in the last two shlokas, we saw the thinking. So this person thinks, okay, now I am rich. I've got enough wealth. Okay, I am very dignified. I have status. I have noble people around me. I don't care for the fallen people, the downtrodden people. Ko anyo asti sadrusho maya. Who else is there like me? There is no one like me. I am unique. I am the center of this universe. Everything revolves around me. This earth revolves around me, not around the sun. It revolves around me. Everybody works for me. Okay, this kind of thinking. And mind you, this kind of thinking, for this kind of thinking, it's not that it's present only in people who are like the CEO of a company or who are the prime minister of a country or somebody who's at the top of something. No, this kind of thinking is present even in people of any kind of income status, social status, because they look at people because of the delusion that they have. That's why it's called delusion. And because of delusion, they look at the people who are lower than them, and with respect to them, they feel like this, and that gives them enough arrogance to think like this. Okay, so even a person who may be living in a jhopadi, so within the jhopadi, there are people of different status. There's a poor person in the jhopadi, there's a rich person also in the same jhopadi. Jhopadi means a slum, right? So even there will be somebody who thinks like this. Okay, I am rich because he's got maybe an income of, let's say, 3 lakhs per annum. Okay, somebody Typically in a slum, you may have people with incomes of 50,000 per annum, or maybe even less. But somebody who's got 3 lakhs per annum will think like this. Will think that, I am the hero, I am the dada, everybody respects me. You see, I can buy an ice cream once a month. This fellow cannot. That kind of thinking. Yakshye dasyami modishye. Now, I will worship. Yakshye means I will conduct yajna. It comes from the word yajna. Yakshye means I will conduct yajna in the future. Dasyami, I will give dana in the future. All future tense. He's planning, he's contemplating on his future. I'll conduct big yajnas. I'll do worship. I will give dana. I'll give charity to a lot of people. Modishye means I will enjoy. I'll enjoy the respect which comes because of that. I'll enjoy the status that people give me. People will call me as a very noble man. People will say that I'm very charitable. Okay. So all this thinking, because the example of yajna is given here, yajna and dana is given. This is to show how dharma, adharma actually is based on dharma. All adharma has its basis as dharma. धर्म के आधार पर ही अधर्म चलता है, सत्य के आधार पर ही असत्य चलता है. अगर सत्य नहीं होता तो असत्य भी नहीं होगा. So similarly, this dharma is based on something else called adharma is based on something else which exists called dharma with reference to that. So the adharmic person exploits the principles of dharma to his advantage to try to get his material ambitions fulfilled and increase his material enjoyment, rejecting the presence of Ishvara. That's what it shows here, right? So Duryodhana, for example, this example of Duryodhana acting like this, where he, at the end of the Ghoshayatra, when he wants to commit suicide, I've told you the story of the Ghoshayatra a few times earlier. Now, at the end of that, he decides to commit suicide, and then he is rescued from that position of suicide. And then he goes back, and then he comes back to normal thinking, I mean, normal for himself. And then he decides to conduct a Rajasuya Yajna. Rajasuya Yajna is conducted by a king to establish dharma in a particular manner. It's an act of dharma, and it is done to bring all the kings together under the sovereignty of a particular king. So the king who conducts the Rajasuya Yajna successfully uh, demonstrates that he is worthy of being the sovereign king, the federal emperor, right? The central king under whom all other kings are willing to cooperate. You see, in the Varnashrama society, when dharma was dominant, dharma is the dominant principle, then all the kings, so there are many kingdoms, there are big kings, there are small kings, there are kings under kings, but all of them are thinking in terms of dharma, and they all want a dharmic king at the center. They all want to report to a dharmic king. They don't mind giving their taxes to a dharmic king. They will only want to have war with somebody who is adharmic or somebody who challenges them under the principles of dharma. Because after all, a kshatriya's dharma is to develop that ability to protect his country, to ensure that everybody follows the principles of dharma and society lives peacefully and so on. So even in a dharmic society, there are kings under other kings and so on. And in the Rajasuya Yajna, one king becomes recognized as the sovereign emperor for the other kings. Now Yudhishthira managed to conduct that successfully earlier, before being sent on the Vanavas. And that, of course, made Duryodhana very jealous, very, very jealous and spiteful, because Rajasuya is considered as an extremely difficult thing to do, to achieve, because it involves the getting the popular consent of everybody. Now Duryodhana wants to conduct that, and he's told that because you are not in a it requires, I think, that the father of the king should not be present. He should be the king. Now Duryodhana's father is still alive, and he is not the king. He's only a prince. Dhritarashtra is the king. So he says, his priests tell him that no, you cannot conduct it because you are not the king now. You're only a prince, and you don't have the adhikar to conduct a Rajasuya yajna. So he asks them, what can I do? So they tell him that you can do another yajna, which is called Vaishnava yajna. Okay, so I'll do that. Please help me. So the Brahmanas, they help him, and he conducts the Vaishnava yajna. But what is the mentality there? Mentality is not the mentality of dharma. It is this mentality. Yakshye dasyami modishye. I'll become popular. I want to be known as a hero among people. I want all the respect, the worship. Okay, and this is done to overcome that humiliation that he perceives because of what has just happened. He tried to humiliate the Pandavas and they eventually rescued him from the hands of the Gandharvas. So ultimately, he ended up being humiliated. And now, in the process of coming out of it, he wants to do these kind of things. So in Duryodhana, we see this, and we see this in people otherwise also. We see this even in ordinary people today when the seva, what they want to do as seva in the name of dharma is done only for the sake of getting popularity, getting some recognition in society as somebody who is very religious, who's very sadhu like, who's got so many good things about him. So a lot of people will praise that person, a lot of people will say that he's such a big sadhu, etc. So this kind of thinking is actually not dharmic thinking, it is actually asuri thinking. So suppose we want to give donation to a temple. Okay? Many of us do that. We do seva, we sometimes do go seva, we do brahmana seva, or we do some mandir seva. We go to a temple, we want to give some donation to the temple. And the correct way to do it is to say that I don't want to be known. My donation should not be known to anyone. Do it completely incognito. Don't post it anywhere. Don't inform anyone except the people in your own family who have to know because you are giving money, from the house. So from in the house, yes, you may tell that okay, we together will donate something, but publicly you don't announce it. You don't go and tell everyone that I did this. My name is there on the board. I am the donor. I am the Mahayajaman. This and that. No, donation is done. Even if the temple people may write your name somewhere, okay, that is part of their system. Let them do that. But you don't go asking for it. You don't look and you don't become angry if you don't get anything in return. Okay, we see the exact opposite. We see people donating to a temple and demanding from the temple that you should give me this now, you should give me that, you should give me, and fighting with each other. It's completely asuric. It has no element of dharma in it. Okay, and that is what we learn when we read these shlokas. We learn the correct mentality. The correct mentality is to do seva without expectation of anything in return, absolutely no return. And if anything comes by itself, then accept it graciously, that's all, and quietly. So, deluded by ignorance, they think, I am of noble descent and wealthy. Is there another like me? I will conduct yajna, I will give charity, and I will enjoy. Okay, and here, this is the 15th shloka. So the last three shlokas, 13, 14, and 15, we were reading in continuity. And these three shlokas together demonstrate, you can see the last word here in the shloka, ajnana vimohitaha. So with this, I have identified one quality. Three shlokas together give us one quality called ajnana vimohitaha, deluded by ignorance-led misconceptions of the self and the world. So, together in these three shlokas, we see these misconceptions. Atyanta labha trishna, intense greed for endless accumulation. Parashatrutva drishti, the desire to eliminate others who are perceived as enemies. Ishwaroham aham bhogi, that is the delusion that I am the Ishvara, I am the enjoyer, I am successful, I am powerful, and so on. Adhyo abhijanavan asmi, I am rich, I am wealthy, I am noble, I am dignified, and so on. And there exists nobody like me. And considering oneself very dharmic by giving in charity, by showing that I'm doing so many activities to others, this kind of hypocrisy. Okay, all this comes because of our ignorance led misconception of ourselves. So what is the correct conception? The correct conception is I am a small jiva, small jivatma, a small insignificant part of that Ishvara. There is an Ishvara, of course, and I am an insignificant part of that Ishvara. That Ishvara includes all Jivatmas, unlimited, infinite Jivatmas are also a part of that same Ishvara, and I am just one among them, and I am a nobody. I am a nobody, and I should never try to, project myself as somebody big, as somebody great, etc. And my purpose in life is to live by dharma, to experience that happiness which perfect following of dharma brings, that pure happiness which dharma only can bring, adharma cannot bring. So this is the proper jnana drishti. And ajnana vimohanam is what we see in these three shlokas. Good. So we have done three shlokas. Now going forward. The 16th shloka. Aneka chitta vibhrantaha mohajala samavritaha prasaktaha kama bhogeshu patanti narakeshu chau. So Sri Bhagavan now lists a few more qualities. Aneka chitta vibhranta means one who is afflicted by numerous confusions in the mind, like we just now saw. Moha jala samavritaha. Moha means delusion. Jala means a net. Moha jala samavrita, covered by the net or trapped in a net of delusions. Then kama bhoga prasakta. Kama bhoga, desires, deeply attached to desires for material indulgence. Kama bhoga. Bhoga means indulgence or enjoyment or complete immersion, absorption. Prasakta means deeply attached. Deeply attached to the desire for material indulgence. I cannot give it up. I just cannot give it up. Okay, so these three come from this shloka. Aneka chitta vibhrantaha mohajala samavritāha prasaktaha kama bhogeshu patanti narakeshu chau. So what happens to them? Patanti narakeshu chau. So they fall into naraka. Naraka means a hellish kind of existence. So naraka is not a physical place. It means even living on the earth, one lives in a hellish condition. You see, long back when I was studying in one of the subjects in Sanskrit, there was a shloka, I remember. Atyanta katuka cha vani, दारिद्रता च स्वजनेषु वैरम नीच प्रसंगः कुलहीन सेवा चिन्नानि देहे narakasthitanam. Said Atyanta kopaha means extreme anger. Atyanta kopaha. Katuka cha vani. Katuka means very harsh voice, speaking in very rude terms, rude voice or rude language. Atyanta kopaha katuka cha vani. Daridrata. Daridrata means miserly thinking or petty thinking. Daridrata, kripanata. Daridrata literally means poverty, lack of money. Here it means the lack of proper intelligence, lack of proper, you know, uh, discrimination to do the right versus wrong, etc. Daridracha swajaneshu vairam, having enmity with one's own people, one's own parents, having enmity, dislike, hatred for one's own parents, one's own brothers and sisters. Okay, today it is not at all uncommon to see this. So many people, they talk ill of their own brother. They may go and actually associate with an enemy of their family to kill their own brother, kill their or destroy their own sister, so that they can get hold of some wealth. You see? So, atyanta kopaha katuka cha vani, daridrata cha swajaneshu vairam, nicha prasangaha, keeping the friendship of low class people. Low class means not low class by birth, not like Shudra, but people who are low in qualities, people who are very wicked, people who are very stupid in their thinking. Nicha prasanga, making friendship with such people instead of making friendship with the learned people, the wise people, making friendship with these kind of people who give them good ego support, who support their ego, make them feel good, etc. Nicha prasanga, kulahina seva, going and doing seva, making happy not the people like your guru. Okay, one should actually work to make one's guru happy. Guru is a kulasreshta, one who is actually a person with elevated qualities in one's kula. But kulahina means one who has gone out of the kula, one who has fallen away from dharma. People who are actually wicked, who don't follow dharma, kulahina, and going and serving them, going and uh, making them happy, doing things which are pleasing to them. Kulahina seva. Chinnhani dehe narakasthitanam. These are the symbols in the body of a person, or these are the symptoms of a person. Narakasthitanam, one who is living in naraka, one who is living in a hellish state of existence. So, hell does not mean a separate physical place like some other city. Hell means a state of existence where one is actually constantly troubled with all kinds of anxieties because of all these things: anger, hatred towards one's own people, uh, associating with low people, making vulgar jokes, drinking alcohol, laughing at the good things, making fun of the good things, etc. This is a condition of a person living in a hellish state of existence. And it's exactly what is resonated in this shloka. It says, Patanti narake ashuchau. People with this kind of thinking will actually go into that hellish state of existence and will live miserable all their life. Even if they have all the money in the world, even if they have a big house, everything is available, but in their mind, in their heart, they're actually living in a hellish state of existence. Then Sri Bhagavan says, Atma-sambhavita stabdaha dhanamana-madanvitaha yajante nama yajñaiste dambhena vidhi-purvakam. So these are all reinforcement of what we learned. Atma-sambhavitaha, people who believe in praising themselves, like narcissism. Okay. Stabdaha. Stabdaha means people who are very obstinate, proud. I'll come to these qualities one by one. Uh, so here we have Atma Sambhavita, passionately attached to self adoration and self praise, narcissistic. Stabdaha, proud and arrogant, no modesty, no humility. Dhanamana Madanvita. So here, like we said, Dambhamana Madanvita, one who is intoxicated by the honor and respect which comes from duplicitous practices. Here, endowed with the intoxication which comes from wealth and the respect which comes from wealth. Because of richness and you know the amount of opulence we have, large house, big cars, rich clothes, and rich lifestyle, then people who are watching this will come and start being sycophantic towards us. So when that happens, then the mind becomes intoxicated. One wants to conduct oneself in whatever way, whimsically, and one does rash things. One abuses the good people, makes friendship with the bad people, and so on. So this is dhanamana madanvita. So, avidhi purvaka dambhayukta nama yajaka, the second shloka, second line of the shloka, yajante nama yajyaiste dambhena avidhi purvakam. So, like we said just now, doing dharmic activities. So, literally, this means doing namesake yajna, doing yajna just by name, avidhi purvakam, without practicing the Shastra, without connection with the Shastra. In the 17th chapter, Arjuna asks Krishna a very related question to this point. He says, "What is the, what is the status of a person who does uh, yajna with Shraddha, but not in accordance with the Shastra?" Now, Sri Bhagavan rejects that. He says that Shraddha, which is not in accordance with Shastra, don't follow such Shraddha. Shraddha should be in accordance with the Shastra. So, whatever Shraddha or whatever conviction we have, the Shraddha that we follow, should be built on the Shastra. And all the religious activities, what we call as religious or activities of Dharma, the puja that we do, the vidhi that we do, should be done in the way in which Shastra tells us to do it. Okay, Shastra refers to the texts based on the Veda, and in the Puranas, the Mahabharata, the Smriti Shastras by the great rishis. So this is what we call the Shastra, and Shastra is very very particular. Although varieties are there, okay, there's no one way of worshipping. There are many different ways in which even the same deity is worshipped. For example, the worship of a deity, let's say Ganesha or Shiva or Vishnu, is described in a particular way in one Purana, then it may be described in a slightly different way in a different Puran. But some things will be common, some things will be different. But whatever it is, as long as we are aligned to at least one of them, the Shastra, and do it in accordance with our Guru who has received this in some parampara, then we are all right. Then we are doing in accordance with Dharma. But the moment we start, using our own mind and saying, okay, now I have to do something original. Okay, today, for example, when we do a PhD, we have to do something original. We have to say something which nobody else has said. Now, if you bring that to the Shastra, then it becomes aparad, it becomes adharma. We don't do anything original there. Of course, we may implement the Shastra. When we conduct our worship, we may have to do some adaptations to the current context, right? Because what is perfectly described in the Shastra may be sometimes impractical to follow in the current context for want of the situation or the resource or for the context in which we are living, the house in which we are living, right? So we have to adapt certain things because of that compulsion. But to the extent possible, we should not deviate. We should do it exactly the way the parampara has taught us and in accordance with the Shastra. So this quality of doing whatever you like and doing it namesake means just for the sake of showing others that I'm doing it. Like checking the box, like checking the box and showing that I'm also doing it, being politically correct. So this kind of yajna is asuric in quality. It's an asuric behavior. It should not be done. So this is the 29th quality. And going forward further, finally, Sri Bhagavan says, Atma sambhavita stabdaha dhanamana madanvitaha yajante nama yajñaiste dambhena vidhipurvakam. I'm sorry, this is the same shloka that I just read, and this is the translation of that shloka. Engaging in self praise, being obstinate and arrogant, and intoxicated by wealth and power, they worship with namesake yajnas characterized by improper procedure. And then in the 18th shloka, Sri Bhagavan says, Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham cha samshritaha mam atmapara deheshu pradvishantobhyasuyakaha. So here the people are, he lists the qualities that he has already spoken about. Ahankara, a false ego. Bala means the strength or the belief that I have strength. uh, Darpa, arrogance, or pride, kama, desire, lust, krodha, anger. People who have taken refuge of all this. What do? They, mam atma paradeheshu, me, who am residing in the bodies of others, the sadhus, and in their own bodies. They pradvishantaha, means bearing hatred, envy, abhyasuyakaha, they remain jealous and envious of me, he says. So I have written this word as Atma Paradeha Ishvara Dveshaka Asuyaka. Okay, it's a long word to describe that quality which is described in the 30th shloka. The person who hates and envies the Ishvara within themselves and others. So this person says that there is no other Ishvara, I am the Ishvara, and thereby he actually is envious because all the time he hates the other people. There's always hatred in the mind. How do I exploit others? How do I manipulate others? How do I make use of others? Okay, and today it is not even considered as anything negative, anything wrong or unethical to, in common language, people will say when they employ you, let's see how we can make use of you, how we can, get what we want from you, right? This is considered very normal business language. It's not even, with the covering of duplicity, that how can we help you? It's not even like that. It's like, how can we make use of you? How can I, what can I get out of you? What do I get from you? What do I get in return? It's straightforward. Okay. And that's considered as very, ethical. That's considered as very modern, very, very, and in one sense it's good also because at least it removes the covering of duplicity. So it's all about thinking, how can I exploit this world to maximize myself? So with this, we sort of list the 30 qualities, and these 30 qualities together represent this mentality of maximizing one's self enjoyment while minimizing what we give to others. Minimize what we give to others and maximize what we take from others, what we take from this world. Okay, and this is considered as efficiency. So if you see our financial efficiency ratios, ultimately it is this. It boils down to this only. Although it is, we don't write it in this language, but it's about maximizing what we get, our returns, what we call returns, divided by what we spend, expenditure, what we give to others. Now, daivi qualities, if you see, if you understand the daivi qualities, if you have understood them, it's the inverse of this. It's about what we can do for others while taking minimum in return. It's exactly exact inverse of this ratio. It's the inverse ratio, right? So that's a society where dharma prevails. If dharma really prevails, then that ratio will get maximized. When adharma prevails, this ratio will get maximized in people, or people will try to maximize this ratio. So we can choose what to do, and obviously, we as students of Bhagavad Gita should try to maximize the daivi ratio in our life. Okay, so this is a translation of the 18th shloka. Taking refuge in false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, they nurture excessive hatred and envy towards me, who resides in the bodies of saintly persons, or Paramatma, who resides in the bodies of others. Both ways you can translate this. So the last two shlokas for today's class, 19th and 20th, describe what happens to such people, what happens to the people with these 30 asuric qualities. So Shri Bhagavan says, Tanaham dvishata kruran samsareshu naradhaman kshipamyajasram ashubhan asurishveva yonishu. So he says to such people, Tan aham, them, these people, aham, I, vishataha, people who continue to be envious, kruran, people who continue to be cruel, wicked, samsareshu naradhaman, the lowest among the people, or lowest among human beings, nara adhamaha, lowest among the human beings in this samsara, in this material existence. Kshipami, I throw, Ajasram means continuously, perpetually, endlessly. Ashubhan, such impure people. Asurishu eva yonishu, into the species. I throw them into the species which are also asuri in nature. Because they are asuri in nature, I give them birth again and again in other species which are also asuri in nature. Okay, the species of wild animals or snakes, or you can think of scorpions, whatever you can think of it in whichever way, or human beings who are very wicked, to take birth among people who are also wicked in nature, who also want to, whose life is to destroy others, who like to destroy others, who get pleasure in making others miserable. Okay, I put them again and again into such thing so that they can achieve what they want to achieve, because they want to achieve that, they want it, so I give it to them like that. The lowest among the human beings in this samsara, who are hate-filled, spiteful, wicked, and inauspicious, I throw them repeatedly into the demoniac species. And then the last shloka for today, Asurim yonim apannaha mudha janmani janmani mam aprapyaiva kaunteya tato yantyadhamam gatim. So Asurim yonim apannaha. So having obtained those Asuri species, Mudaha, these foolish people, stupid people, Janmani, Janmani, again and again, birth after birth, Mam aprapya, without obtaining me, Eva means certainly without obtaining me, O Kaunteya, Tato Yanti, Adhamam Gatim. So birth after birth after birth, they go into lower and lower and lower species. So first, they go into lower species among human beings, among more wicked human beings, then more suffering, then eventually into animals, take birth as animals, and then as cruel animals, not the soft animals like cows or bulls, but among animals like tigers, leopards who live on other animals, and then into even more wicked species, or you can say species where life is only that, life is only about hunting and killing and eating other species. Okay, so even among human beings you will see that there are human beings in remote locations who live only by that, killing other animals or killing other human beings and living on them. That's their only life all the time, and they live and they take pleasure. You'll see videos on YouTube of such kind of tribes who say openly that our life is filled with this, and they say we enjoy this, we get pleasure in this. Okay, so this is the meaning of asuri yoni, where there is no understanding of dharma at all. It's the exact opposite of adharma. So this is what happens when asuri qualities become more and more. O Kaunteya, the fools who obtain the demoniac species birth after birth certainly do not attain me. Thereafter, they go to the lowest state of existence. So, in the remaining four shlokas in the 16th chapter that we will read in the next session, Sri Bhagavan will conclude the 16th chapter by summarizing whatever he has told us so far. But in what we have learned so far, we can see that clearly the 26 daivi qualities are the ones that we should keep as the goals of our life, or we should keep as the guiding rails on which we should move towards the larger purpose of life, which is to make ourselves happy eternally and to give the happiness to others, to share it with others. And in realizing that happiness is maximized when everybody's happiness is maximized. Collectively, we can all be happy together, but individually, we can never be happy. Okay, individual happiness is just a delusion. Individual happiness, maximization of one's own happiness while minimizing others' happiness, is only a delusion. Maximizing one's happiness through maximizing others' happiness is actual knowledge, is jnana. And that is what we learn in the 16th chapter. In the first three shlokas itself, that point is made very clear. And in the next 17 shlokas that we read, we can see what happens when we resort to the asuri qualities. And that's what we should be trying to overcome within ourselves and staying away from when we see it in the other people. So, with this, I will stop for today, and I will now look forward to your questions, comments, etc. Please chant the Hare Krishna mantra with me. ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यो शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. धन्यवादाः. Thank you.